Hi, my name is Aaron Daniel. And first off, I want to ask all of you a question. What is the job of police officers?
To protect and serve.
Boom, there you go. To protect and serve. That's the job of all police officers. They're supposed to protect and serve and keep the civilians of wherever they're at to keep them safe. But more recently than not, it seems like that police officers haven't been doing their job. They've been hurting or killing those that they are meant to protect. But why is it that they feel that they need to do this? Is it because they feel like there's no better way, there's nothing they could do, or is there like a different reason or a different cause? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about police brutality. I'm going to talk about what it is, why it happens, and possible ways that you could stop it, or not necessarily stop it, but reduce it from happening. So first off, I'm going to talk about police brutality and what it is. So, according to the lawdictionary.org, police brutality is the use of excessive or unnecessary force by police when dealing with civilians. Now, this can be both physical and verbal. If you look back to the 60s, not only physically but verbally with racial slurs that I'm not going to mention right now, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So it goes all the way back to the 60s and even before that. But some good examples that I have are, you can see this. So you see there's Mike Brown, this one example. If you know who this is Sandra Bland. She was arrested by the police and they used excessive force. And after that, she supposedly committed suicide, but a lot of people don't believe that. They think that the police killed her. Another example is, have any of you seen the movie Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you know the part when everybody from NWA, when they all came out of the booth and they were eating their sandwiches, and the police came by and they arrested them for no reason. Well, I have a photo of that. That's another example of police brutality because for whatever reason, whether it be racial or just whatever reason, they felt that they needed to be arrested and it was unnecessary, throwing them on the ground and other things like that. And that translates today, even you can see here with this picture, it was a civil rights movement of the 60s. They were rioting and marching, well not rioting, but they were marching and the police came through and they were sending out dogs and all that to stop them. And then that translates to today with even things like Ferguson when they were rioting and the police had to come through and they stopped that and they were hurting the people. So next I'm going to talk about why it happens. What are the reasons that some police officers feel that it's necessary to do this? Well, according to copcrisis.com, in their own words, it said that 52% of police officers say that it's not unusual for police to turn a blind eye to improper conduct from other police officers. And so we see that that's one reason. And they also said that 61% of police officers don't always report serious abuse by other officers. So we see that that's one reason why it continues to happen. Another reason is out of fear that they don't necessarily know what the people are going to do. So they try to strike first before they get got, basically. Another reason would be racially. I know that the examples that I showed were based around African Americans. They're not the only people that are like hurt by police brutality, but more recently that's what's been getting a lot of attention. And a side note, not every time a black person gets killed by a police officer, not every time is that police brutality. Or the reason for it is not because of racism. Not every time a white officer kills a black person, it's not because of racism. So, that's one reason. And also, because a lot of training doesn't go around, isn't based around protecting, or not really protecting, but based around helping the civilians. And that's kind of leading into my next topic, which is going to be ways that we can reduce the number of police brutality that happens. The WashingtonTimes.com said that one way that we can help is with more comprehensive training, not just with logistics, but learning the significant role that they have in society, knowing that there's a symbol of protection for their civilians and that they're not just there to shoot and kill. Another way that they said was another reason that they said that a lot of police brutality may happen is because of budget cuts in the police force. So that leads to less training, and that the training that they do get is only based on life or death, like defense skills. So if you're only learning to handcuff, shoot, kill, things like that, that's going to be what translates to out in society. So if there was some way that you could like increase budget, then that could help. And one final thing was, I know I heard on the news that they were having an idea of putting cameras on like the officer uniform to record them in the field of work, so that it helps them know what they're doing. And if you know that you're being watched more or less, then that may help you to not be brutal to the civilians. And so, in conclusion, I told you about police brutality, why it happens, and ways that we can prevent it. We know that not everything that happens is because of racism, other things like that, but no person's life is more important or less important than somebody else's. And so that's something that government and society really needs to work on and needs to be fixed, and something needs to change. And thank you.